Hello and welcome to this review of Britannia Season 1, Episode 6. And I thought this episode was a pretty good episode. It was really setting up the final events of the show as we are through the 6 episodes of the 9, and things are starting to head up into full-on war. Like I said, the bulk of this episode is set up for the ensuing battles, so we go on and we focus on General Lewis David Morrissey as he makes his way through multiple encampments, visits the main cast, well, the majority of the main cast, meeting Varon on a hill, and that encounter was quite interesting because I thought that these characters, Alice obviously thought that they were working and doing their bidding for them, but Varon obviously was saying, no, it's not quite that. We're doing our own thing. We're not really going to agree with you. We'll see what happens. And also he mentions that he was seen by Julius Caesar. So we can say that he's saying, I'm a lot older. I remember what happened to him. So a bit of warning there. And obviously Lucius picks up some sort of voodoo doll. That's the best way to describe it. Obviously voodoo doll comes from a more Caribbean background, but it's fair to say that. And obviously one of the attendants to Varon was mentioned about who was ready, and Varon also mentioned about in the vision, obviously at the beginning of the episode, we have the outsider, or his actual character name is actually Divus, actually sees Kat and Alice in the dream. So he's actually talking about how the general was careless in being found out that she's actually vital, which in that particular scene I thought was quite interesting because Divus was just very dismissive of Kat and her father and thought, he was the one who could totally take out the Romans, but he's been proven wrong. And obviously, it's quite comfortable that we can definitely say that Kat is obviously going to be Boudica, because it just seems like that's quite a natural thing for them to go for, and she's obviously the most famous of this pre-Roman period to come about. Post the meeting with Varon, we get a particular scene in the woodlands where we have loads of bodies of Reginae soldiers who are just being slaughtered, which obviously we get in odd sort of flashbacks and very scattered flashbacks that Divus has basically slaughtered them, because obviously I think he's been possessed by the demon, and it's not clear if they were going to be attack the Romans or if they were like a welcoming party for the Romans. I assume welcoming rather than ambush, or they would have been a backup in case something went wrong. But obviously we get a quick scene of that and move on to the actual proper meeting with Queen Antede. And this is a particularly good scene, I thought, as we get the Queen, she thinks she's pretty strong, but as Annalus is getting more confident, or rather more assured in his position, he is laying down the terms far more aggressively than she was probably expecting, which was quite nice to see. Obviously, they start off being very nice, very favourable, and then as they get stronger in their position, they start to push and push and push, like they said, until they break. And basically, he doesn't mind. Regni can go fight the Canti and wear themselves out. Does not bother them whatsoever, because hey, if there's less troops on those sides, when we want to fight, we can mop them up later on. But obviously, they're willing to let that go for now. So before we go into the final meeting with the Romans, where they move on to the Canti tribe, we have little scenes with Kat and her father playing around until she actually meets up with the Queen Cara, who then takes her on back to her fortress, or more like her chambers, and they talk about who they're special and what happened to their tribe. And yeah, that's about it really. She gets a new dress, which also she noticed herself the first time, probably the first time she's seen herself in a mirror, which I thought was rather nice, like a little scene. But back in to the meat of it, which was Alice's round trip, I'd say, and it gets to the Canti fortress where he meets up with Cara, and they make a deal about they will look after the Canti, maintain the peace, and then in a few years after that, if everything's alright, then we'll pay taxes. And obviously there's a bit of flirtation, possibility saying, no, we can negotiate other ways as well, which obviously means, seduction, but she does warn him about the previous suitor, but, he moves on without actually going for the kiss, or to actually, bed her. But then we move on to, this is where the outside arrives, and previously in the episode, Amaya, the wife of Pelin and the Gaul, who previously was very jealous of the queen, but rather than outright trying to kill her, is now trying to undermine her or to degrade her rule as such. Now she tries a summoning of some sort of demon. She gets very frustrated when she originally thinks that the Roman is the demon, but while she's trying to run away, she runs into Divus, who is rather calm, and she's thinks he's a demon, but I'm not sure whether or not that's what really is happening, or just just circumstances. Now we enter the final third, where Kat is walking back to her father. She's walking around that area, and she's seen some sort of magic trick which Divus has put on. She doesn't quite see him initially, which I thought she might have recognised him with all his dirty, tattered clothes, but I'm gonna learn to walk past that, really. So then she sees him, and he spots her, and he goes for and starts chasing her. Now, obviously, this is a demon trying to get at her. Not exactly sure why it actually wants to kill her as such, but, well, perhaps we'll find out later on. And there's a bit of a chase scene, and they get into the throne room where the Gaul and Divus demon, fight out, and he takes out the Gaul. It's not like it's a totally one punch down. It takes a few whacks, and then he's taken out, but it's still meant to be quite scary for the inhabitants of the room. But Kara basically tries to take them away, and she obviously runs into the Romans. The Romans, or rather Ananias, was actually looking for these two particular people, the blind man and the daughter, because obviously he knows that the daughter will bring ruin to the Romans, obviously as Boudica. It's pretty obvious. But this causes a confrontation between the Romans and the Canti surround the Romans because there's more of them there, because rather that the Romans only have an honorary guard, which means that they can't really use their force properly, so they basically have to let them go, and they take them to the tunnels. As they go back, the Romans are not happy, mainly Alias, because I suspect if Alias wasn't there, they would have ignored it and just carried on back to camp. Now, obviously, after this, the Divus starts to catch up, but he's trying to fight the demon, lets him escape, and is still really frustrated. But I wonder if it wasn't the demon, how he would have actually reacted. But I suspect we'll get this in episode 7, 8, and 9 as we go further. But obviously, the final part we have is Alias preparing for war, closing off camp, letting Queen Antida know we're going to start this siege, start the fight, take out the Canti, and move on. But yes, that's the bulk of the episode. There was a little bit about the deserter basically running away after the other Roman soldier was brought back, because obviously he's been found out that he was a traitor, or rather a deserter, and there's a little bit to it. So it's a little bit, but as I said, the bulk of it is Alias and his moving through different factions, and then finally we go into basically the final phase, the final third, where we're going to get probably far more action. Because, to be fair, we have not had much in terms of battle scenes for this series. It's more like pieces on a chessboard we moved around, preparing ourselves for a final battle. So that's my review for Britannia Season 1, Episode 6. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe. I hope to hear from you soon. Let me know what you think of this episode in the comments, and goodbye.